Welcome back for another video. In this series we look at the top players for predicted points to make your Gameweek 1 drafting and captaincy easier. Make data-backed decisions to maximise your chance of success this season. This is an ongoing series throughout the season, so hit subscribe for more to come. We're going for 80k subs by Gameweek 1, so help us get there. Predicted points are courtesy of fplreview.com, a good friend of the channel, and they've provided us with an early look at the Gameweek 1 projections. Let's start with the goalkeepers, and Alisson tops the projections for Gameweek 1 with 4.3 predicted points. The Liverpool defence is an interesting one this season. You can make the case for Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk and Alisson, as they all represent great value at different price points. Liverpool travel to newly promoted Fulham, and the bookies have given them a 45% chance of a clean sheet. Lloris and Pope are tied with 4 predicted points. Tottenham host Southampton in Gameweek 1, another eye-catching fixture, but for 5.5 Lloris is an avoid, as you're better off spending the money on the likes of Perisic. Newcastle's season begins with a home game against Forest, which is a fixture being somewhat overlooked as far as Newcastle assets are concerned. For 5 mil you may be better spending the same amount on Mendy though. However, Pope no doubt will get you more save points over the season at the sacrifice of less clean sheets. As it stands, most of us aren't tripled up on Man City, so I like Ederson for 5.5 mil in goal. He's narrowly top among all keepers for predicted points over the opening 5 game weeks, and they were best in the league for expected goals conceded last season. Schmeichel and De Gea are both avoids for 5 mil. Mendy and Pope both look better picks for the same price. Aston Villa's opening 4 fixtures are Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace and West Ham. A great run of games with clean sheet potential in all 4. Gerrard will have a pre-season with the squad for the first time, having joined mid last season, and he'll be expected to do even better. Therefore Martinez is a great pick too. Onto the defenders, and the Liverpool duo Trent and Robertson top the predictions with 5.9 and 4.9 points. Last season Trent and Robertson scored 6.5 and 6.4 points per match, so there was little to separate them, and yet their ownership are currently 56 and 10%. Therefore I love the double up for Gameweek 1, as you stand to gain significantly more from a Liverpool clean sheet, and as we've seen Robertson is capable of going toe to toe with Trent's points. Reece James has 4.6 points for the away trip to Everton. In the same fixture last season, Everton actually pulled off an upset, winning 1-0. There are murmurs that Chelsea could switch to a back 4, which could potentially lessen James's attacking threat as opposed to his wing-back role last season. We'll follow how they line up in pre-season for any indication, as this will be the time for Tuchel to test it. Regardless, even if they're in a back 4, he's a great pick, as is Chilwell, who narrowly misses out on the predictions. Assuming Doherty is back from injury and available for Gameweek 1, he's on 4.6 predicted points. Spurs are being linked with Jed Spence. If they do go on to sign him, Doherty will sadly be in a void. Or failing that, 5 mil could make him a tempting alternative to Perisic, whose ownership's through the roof. Trippier should be in for a very good season should he stay injury free. His 4.7 points per match last season was on par with the likes of Laporte, Alonso and Doherty. He's on direct free kick duties, which is a rarity among defenders, and in just 429 minutes last season he was on the score sheet twice. If you found this video useful so far, please consider subscribing to help us hit 80k by Gameweek 1. Onto the midfielders, and Salah's top among all players for Gameweek 1 projections with 7.1 points. He shared the golden boot with Son last season, but no player could beat Salah's 26.01 expected goal involvement among all players. In the second half of last season he slowed down a bit, understandably so, having lost the AFCON final, failed to qualify for the World Cup and had contract issues. It's all behind him now, and he's a must-have for Gameweek 1 in my eyes. Son currently sits at around 25% ownership, but second among all players for predicted points with 6.3, KDB third at 4.9. If you pick up both Salah and one of Son or De Bruyne, it does price you out for premium forward, which is why ownership's relatively low. The risk is that if Haaland or Kane become must-haves, you need a minimum of 2 moves to get there. Sterling has completed his switch to Chelsea, but it's Mount who makes the list. He's returned more FPL points season on season since his debut, so it's a tough call between him and Sterling. At 10 mil there is an opportunity to squeeze in a third premium. Bruno Fernandes another one. Few managers will be doing this, but Sterling and Bruno are great players at a great price. If Ronaldo does leave Man United this window, Bruno will be back on penalties and will be the main man once again under this new Ten Hag Man United side. Luis Diaz's ownership's more than triple of Robertson's, and yet Robertson has slightly higher Gameweek 1 projections, and last season more points per match. That said, Diaz should be in for a top season, and he'll only get better as he improves his game and continues to adjust to the league. The 8 mil mid bracket is a sweet spot where you should own at least one. In the Gameweek 1 projections alone, there's 4 8 mil mids. Saka was Arsenal's top scorer last season with 179 points, though many have opted for new signing jerseys instead for the same price, and we'll take a look at the forwards next. Maddison for 8 mil is a great price too, but I'd put the other 3 ahead of him. Onto the forwards, and Kane's top with 6.2 predicted points for the Southampton game. You wonder if he'll play the 10 role this season between centre mid and the front line to create chances for Son. We saw this a lot last season, and it was therefore Son who excelled as the better pick. Haaland is second with 5.5 predicted points, tied with Ronaldo. He's the most owned asset in the game currently with about 65% ownership, almost 2/3 of managers. He's also top among forwards for predicted points over the opening 5. Callum Wilson's arguably the best of the 7.5 mil forwards. He's a quality player when playing, but so injury prone. He's a fair option, but he does have Man City in Gameweek 3 and Liverpool in Gameweek 5. Vardy for 9.5 mil is a genuine option, and much like Sterling and Bruno, a tier below the top premiums, so it might be possible to squeeze them in. Vardy's always started seasons well. In the opening 10 game weeks, the past 3 seasons, he's averaged an attacking return per game. Jesus has 4.4 predicted points for Gameweek 1, the first game of the 22-23 season, where Arsenal travelled to Palace on the Friday. He scored a minute into his Arsenal debut last week and followed up with a second only 30 minutes later. Bamford's one for the watch list, and he missed a huge part of last season, so he's a wait and see. Solanke's unavoided as Bournemouth face Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool in the opening 4. If you found today's video useful, please drop it a like and hit subscribe for all future content to come. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.